So Caught Stealing is a crime thriller pseudo-action comedy movie set in the 90s based on the novel of the same name, and it has a true star-studded cast, and I was lucky enough to watch this at the global premiere. And it's a really wacky roller coaster of a film in the best way possible, and it feels very Tarantino and 87 North inspired. It has got a bit of a slow start in the first act of the movie, but by the second and third act of this movie, it really does get going. And it's a true adrenaline-fueled caper that just gets more ridiculous and shocking as it progresses. As the lead character, Hank, played by Austin Butler, by the way, he does such a good job. This character is just put through so much in this movie. And everybody is loving 90s nostalgia at the moment, and I think this movie capitalizes on that in a really good way, as there's no smartphones, there's no easy way to get out of certain situations. And another beauty of the 90s is that everything is pretty basic, everything is really stripped back, and you really do feel that in this movie, as this guy hasn't got any rich connections, he's a really normal person, and so with that, he's really endearing and relatable, and therefore you're really rooting for him. So I feel like Austin Butler does a good job in terms of carrying this movie, as you really are with Hank as he's uncovering the mystery and the craziness of everything that takes place. And it's a little bit familiar in terms of, you don't know who you can trust, things get more and more shocking, convoluted, unexpected, loads of twists and turns, and it has got some really clever moments, so I have to hand it to all of the writers, and of course David Aronofsky, who brilliantly directs this one. So let's go through all of the cast and characters. So like I said, Austin Butler does a really good job as playing Hank, and as he is not expecting any of this to take place, and even though I criticize the movie for it, the first act of this movie, because of the fact that it is so slow, you're really in this world with this character before everything just takes such a shocking and violent turn. And on that point, you're really experiencing all of the excruciating pain that Hank has to go through, and you just feel so sorry for this guy. And if there ever was a lesson to not get involved with the wrong people, I feel like this movie does definitely communicate that. And there's a big mystery that you're solving with Hank while he's trying desperately to stay alive. Matt Smith plays questionable best friend and neighbor Russ. Even though he's not in this movie that much, I feel like all of the scenes that he is in, he is so iconic. And I feel like Sony Pictures absolutely loves Bad Bunny, as they put him in a number of different projects, and I feel like he plays a little bit of a similar character to who he plays in Bullet Train. And Regina King plays a really good officer in this movie, and to my surprise, she is actually in this movie a lot more than I thought she would have been. And Zoe Kravitz is always really great in everything that she plays, and I feel like she does a really good job in terms of playing the girlfriend supporting character role. She definitely does feel like how a 90s girls would have acted. I would have loved her role to have been a little bit more expansive, but I feel like for the material that she is given, she does do a good job. And I feel like her apartment definitely feels very 90s, and on that point, I feel like they get the 90s aesthetic down to a T in this movie. So overall, even though I have to say this movie has got a little bit of a slow start, I feel like it does work with the narrative that they are telling. And even though this genre isn't typically my favorite, I have to say I had such a good time with this one, and so I'm going to give it a solid 6.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Caught Stealing? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.